Doctor, if it's beneficial for our overall health to boost our iodine levels, what's the best way to go about that? Foods, supplements? What's the best
I'm a
way?
big fan of foods for iodine. I think that seaweed products are great from a, get them from a very reputable type of company. That mostly now with the Fukushima radiation thing, I am a believer that I think we should be using Atlantic coast seaweeds and kelps, at least for now and maybe forever, of what's happening in our Pacific Ocean, that it's going to take years for us to know for sure. Eggs have a lot of iodine in them. Algae and kelps have a lot of iodine in them. Saltwater fish have a lot of iodine. So I think that you can get a lot of iodine from that perspective. There's a really simple screening test that people can do to determine what their iodine level is. It's not a quantitative test. It doesn't tell you how deficient you are, but it can give you some idea of whether or not you need more iodine. And it's a topical iodine skin test. And you can get a little bit of Lugol's iodine from a pharmacy. You have to sign a paper that say that you have it. And the test is fairly simple. That first thing in the morning, you take one drop and put it on your skin, preferably on your forearm, kind of rub it together. In the middle part of it is a bright yellow, kind of like the top that I have on, kind of a bright yellow color. The outside rim tends to be a little bit brownish, and that's the carrier. You're wanting to pay attention to the bright yellow in the middle. Once you dry it, which only takes just a few seconds, and try not to get it on your clothes because it is iodine, it will stain. After you dry it, it takes only a few seconds. You can't rub it off, you can't wash it off. So the only place for that iodine to go is into your skin. So you use it on your forearm for a couple reasons. It's thin-skinned, there's no hair, and you can watch it closely. And what you want to see is that bright yellow color should stay there for about 14 hours. The faster that that goes away, the more that that gets absorbed into your system. Now that's just kind of a down and dirty sort of a screening test. It doesn't tell you how deficient you are, but it gives you an idea that if that color goes away in about 2 hours, you know that your body's really absorbing that iodine and using it.
What about iodized salt? I mean, that's common table salt for most of us. Is there much benefit to that?
Well, that's where most people get their iodine, and I think it is beneficial to at least a certain degree. But iodinized salt isn't all that it's cracked up to be, because when they take iodine, which by nature is a gas, on the periodic table of elements, it's in the category called a halogen. So by nature, it's a gas. So they have to go through a binding process to get that gas to bind to sodium chloride, which is salt. It's bound imperfectly, and some of the imperfections in the salt make it not bind very well at all. It tends to volatilize, which means that if you leave it open on the table, over time, all of the hydrogen, all of the halogen of the salt just floats away. When you cook with iodinized salt, it all bubbles and goes away. To get the amount of iodine you need on a daily basis, which is about 3,000 micrograms, or 3 milligrams a day, which is sort of a baseline, you'd have to have about 11 teaspoons of salt a day, iodinized salt, between 11 and 15 teaspoons. And that's one of the reasons why we are so iodine deficient these days, because we don't eat eggs because of cholesterol, we don't eat salt because of high blood pressure, we don't eat fish because of mercury, and so and our soils are all depleted, and so that's what's made the population very iodine depleted. In fact, there's a very large survey that the government does every couple of years. It's called the NHANES study, which is the National Health Assessment Nutritional. I'm not sure exactly what that acronym stands for, but it's a big nutritional survey. And the last 3 times that they've done it, they found that up to 12% of the general population is severely iodine deficient right here in America.